Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam rasulillah, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's your brother Gabriel Ar-Rahmani. Welcome to another episode of Real Problems, Real Solutions. The question is about marriage and divorce. Why do so many Muslims divorce today? There's high rates of divorce. Some statistics are showing very high rates in the Muslim communities in the West as well as in the Muslim countries. Now, I'm going to share with you a theory that I have that is grounded in my professional experience over the past 17 years or more in dawa. Why do I think that there's so much divorce? First of all, I believe that people don't understand the concept of marriage. There's a distorted concept of marriage. And that is due to before, let's say 10, 15 years ago, social media was not so popular. It was mostly due to TV, movies, what marriage and relationships were portrayed like in Hollywood, Bollywood, and so on. And now we have social media. A lot of brothers and sisters are on social media checking out these very high-performing accounts, a lot of them being with sisters, brothers and sisters together, married couples, hundreds of thousands of followers, if not millions, showing their relationship, how good it is, traveling around the world, vacations. And these accounts, if you look at it, there might be hundreds of them, thousands of them, if not. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. A lot of Muslims follow them. Muslim Muslim cute couple relationships, cute hijabi, cute Muslim, I am going to Jannah with my husband. Whatever these kind of account names that you might find, some of them being very cringe. And the Muslims are following in automatically. We human beings, the psychology of the human mind, the human being, is that we compare. There's a standard and we benchmark against that standard, our own lives. If we're not married, we say, well, this is how I would like to be. I travel to Dubai, to the Maldives, take all these nice selfies with the new iPhone, nice account, everyone's saying, mashallah, how beautiful, wow, I love you, you're so inspirational, and so on and so forth. So that's before marriage, brothers and sisters. They say, wow, I want to be like that. I wish that's the kind of relationship I would like to have. After they get married, they're still watching the same things, and now they're able to gauge, to assess their current relationship much better because now they actually have someone in their lives. So they're saying, wait a second, I'm not getting what I wanted. What I have is not what I see on social media. I must have a horrible marriage. Let me divorce because depends where I live. Government might say, no problem, we'll support you, we'll give you social welfare, we'll give you a house. How about, did your husband hit you? Or did this one abuse you? Or whatever, because we can help you. You can, in some countries, no problem, be single. There's good jobs for you. Actually, women will get paid even more. So, they're encouraged to divorce. But that's the first issue. We have a distorted understanding of what marriage should be like. And the solution for that is just look at the best society that existed, that at the time of the Prophet ﷺ in Medina, and see that they had issues. Marriage was not just about some romance. Should there be romance and love? Where the Prophet ﷺ loved Khadija so much, and he loved Aisha radiallahu anha so much, and they did have romance. However, does that mean that every single relationship that the Prophet ﷺ would have with all his wives were all romantic and this and that? And even with Aisha, for example, there was certain issues sometimes. This is normal. So when we look at that, that's the solution. We need to look to understand what marriage means in Islam. First and foremost, marriage is an aqd. It is a contract. And Umar Khattab explains to us this in a saying where he says, look, not every marriage is about love, but it's about taqwa. Some of the scholars advise the women, marry a man who has taqwa. Because if he loves you, it'll be great. If he does not, which could happen, he will not wrong you because he fears Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And same way with the women as well. That's the definition of marriage. It's a contract. Why is it a contract? You see, when you talk about emotions, those are abstract. You cannot gauge or measure emotions, can you? Cannot. Oh, I love you more. No, I love you more. No, I love you more. Why don't you say I love you? Sometimes sisters, when they meet, I love you, honey, how are you? With each other, they throw the word love a bit more often, and it's looser than men do. Men don't meet and say, oh, hey, what's up, bro? I love you. Hey, bro, I love you too. Wow, you look great. Wow, look at that. Sisters are a bit more easy with the word love. At the same time, they'll attack their husband and say, why? Oh, you never say love. I love. No, I love you more. No, you never say it, so therefore I love you more. You cannot measure love through just emotions. There's no emotional gauge. It is abstract. However, that's why nikah is a contract, is an aqd nikah, because it is measurable. There are measurables there. There are responsibilities and rights that are measured according to fulfillment of obligations, actions, responsibilities. That's when you can actually see. So that's why some people think, oh, it's dry, oh, you have to pay mahar, oh, you have to do this contract, you have to do this, that, witnesses. Where's the romance? Again, it takes precedence over romance actually, because if anything goes bad, and you know that it does happen, people don't come and say, well, let's hold accountable love. No, they'll go to court, and there'll be qadis or judges, in many cases, using the non-Muslim court system to push their rights. And hey, it happens because you live in those countries, isn't it? That's what it shows. To push and use that and even blackmail or threaten people to get their rights. So now it's becoming a measurable thing, isn't it? So let's keep things in perspective. Nikah is a contract where it has to be, and it is. And about love, love can come or not, depends. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, Surah Rum, that He has put love between us, no doubt, husband and wife. But that love can be developed or it can disappear very fast, or sometimes might not even end up starting and developing. It depends. However, the contract will always safeguard two people. And that is why it might sound dry a little bit, but it is a contract. So that is the first thing. The second thing that is important to understand, and again, it is a theory when it comes to marriage. And I've said it many times, I believe that we get married too late. Too late. Why? Well, because culture has conditioned us to marry late. You're not ready. You don't have the money. It's not the right time. Parents push their children to continue to struggle against sexual desires and urges to get married. You're living in fitna. I was talking to a brother who's studying in a Muslim country that's very conservative, probably one of the most conservative, and he was saying, bro, even here is super fitna. And he wants to get married, and he's just still a teenager, because he says, I cannot focus. I know you might laugh, oh, you cannot focus. That's exactly how parents react sometimes. Oh, you can't focus, you can't control yourself. What's wrong with you? So we see this generational confusion in parents and in society who's pushing the young men and women to delay marriage, even though they can get married. And I've offered certain solutions to the communities where the whole community, remember, we're an ummah. We're not like, well, just go on yourself, and well, you're not ready because you yourself are a loser or whatever. The ummah works together. وَتَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْبِرِّ وَالتَّقْوَى. Cooperate in righteousness and piety. Cooperation means the whole ummah helps each other. A community, the imam, the parents, the elders, there's a community fund for marriage, so it can take care of the financial problems that might present themselves in the path of marriage of our young brothers and sisters. There can be a council that looks at these things. The community can look at a vetting process, premarital counseling, postmarital counseling, marriage matching in the masjid, in the community systems. Like we've developed halal meat and I don't know what else, Islamic schools supposedly. Why can we solve these problems that are actually at the core of some of our issues in our communities? Al-afafa, or chastity, when it comes to sexual issues, it's a huge thing. People dismiss it by saying, oh, everything is about sex and you guys cannot hold yourself and it's you men, it's your fault. Actually, I was reading today and I'm going to check this study. The Malaysian police released a survey that was targeting girls and understanding what they feel about sex. I will check the statistics again, the reliability, but I will not mention it right now. But overwhelming majority of women were reporting that they are engaged in sexual premarital sex. This is about women. So what happens is, let's look at this, a theory, again, based on my experience with clients and what I see premarital and postmarital. So we delay marriage for so many excuses. And you have to understand the way the human mind develops, the personality of someone, man or woman. When they are younger, it's much easier. 17, 18, 19, 20, it's getting harder. 30, when most people now get married, 26 to 30. Men sometimes delay it up to 33, 35. You know, you have to graduate, you have to get a job, you have to make enough money, you have to get an apartment, furnish it. The girl as well now has to be educated, master's, PhD, and then. A lot of people get married in their 30s, let's say, early 30s. Already your mindset is pretty much formed. You have to understand that. So now you are told, hey, here's this stranger that you barely know, a couple months, maybe a few months, get married, we'll put you in one house, live together. You've already formed your own habits by yourself. And it might be that they don't match to the habits of this sister. So arguments, problems, resentment, issues, you let it stay, you keep thinking maybe it's gonna go away, which it will not, because it's very deeply rooted in your identity, in your personality. So after, let's say, 5 years of marriage, you finally come to a counselor and say, man, you know, it's over. Or if you haven't divorced yet. And you ask him why? Well, because of this, and she does that. And she says, well, he does this and that, and I cannot stand it. He leaves his dirt in the sink, and she doesn't want to do this, and all kinds of problems that are usually based on personality and habits that have been developed over the years. So how do you expect people to get along? On the other side of the spectrum, if people get married earlier and we find these solutions, we develop these systems that I've talked before in my videos, where the community, the imam, the masjid board, I don't know what they're doing, start looking at problem solving, thinking outside of the box, and stop caring about what culture thinks and what society thinks, and start looking what Islam thinks and says, and the Sunnah and the Quran. So if we get our brothers and sisters married earlier, what happens is you start learning together. You get married early, you start developing your personality together. You are friends, you learn together, you have more flexibility when you're a bit younger than later on. So you adapt a bit easier. Will it be perfect? Will you be in perfect synergy? No, most likely not. But you have a better chance of adjusting and being together and working together and cooperating and putting up with each other's issues and fixing those habits and being able to adjust to each other. Then when you get married at 30, 35, mark my word, think about it. Think about the development of personality, all the theories around this issue, the fitra and how it develops. We are closer to our nature when we are younger than when we are older. There's a lot more application of the external stimuli on our personality and our development when we are older, because more time has passed, so we've been exposed to more stimuli. And as culture changes, seems towards the worst, obviously makes sense that it will be a more of a negative development of our personality and our traits and our behavior. So when you get married earlier, yes, it's not easy. Someone asked me, well, I want to be a man first before I get married. I said, no, you become a man by getting married, by going through those difficulties with your wife, all those challenges that you can easily handle much better when you're younger. You have more stability in terms of just the way you are. When you're more flexible. While when you're older, you're more solid, you're harder to change. I hope that makes sense. Because I do call upon the Muslim communities, imams, masjid boards, elders to sit down and solve this problem. Don't allow the non-Muslim culture to affect you. How can you do about this problem? What kind of funds do you have to set up? Pull money together, invest together, bring the right counselors, send people for training, solve this problem, because sexual misconduct and misbehavior, dating, homosexuality, lesbianism, masturbation, pornography is destroying you, and you don't even know it because it's not apparent. Oh, we're fine. Look at our community. We're fine. We have this nice masjid, nice Islamic school, but you don't know what's happening in the background because you're not there on the actual ground to know these things. You just see the apparent things. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us. Barakallahu feekum. Please check out the descriptions and the links in this video and support me to do more videos as such and educate the community by becoming a patron. $3 a month can help us make more videos, inshallah, and help more people around the world. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.